So starting out with what I liked about this movie, there is a lot. I think the best thing here is pretty easily the acting, specifically from our two leads Taylor Schilling and Jackson Robert Scott. Jackson Robert Scott is fantastic, and while he won't get any Oscar nominations or anything like that, he definitely deserves some recognition for what he does here. Taylor Schilling is also great for the most part, and she and Jackson Robert Scott have amazing chemistry. In fact, some of the best moments of the film come when both these characters are on screen, so they definitely carried a lot of the load. Other actors like Peter Mooney and Colm Feore, I think, are pretty good and suffice in the roles that they play, albeit coming off as pretty cheesy at times. Next up, Nicholas McCarthy quietly gave us, in my opinion, one of the best directed horror films in recent memory. His use of angles and camera work built up a ton of suspense, even though there weren't a lot of in-your-face scary moments. He kept the plot development at a good pace and kept the film under control at least until the final act, but we'll talk about that later. Finally, this was a really fun film to watch. There were times when it got kind of depressing, the ending, but the rest of the film delivered on what I wanted to see, which from my most anticipated films of 2019 was... I don't really have a ton to say about this, other than that I think it looks really scary, and it will be a ton of fun to watch. So yeah, besides that, there were the little things like the score, which was pretty good, but nothing else really special enough to mention. So The Prodigy had a surprisingly coherent and cognitive plot and was held together exceptionally well up until the final act. But as previously mentioned, that's when things started to get a little out of hand. I won't spoil anything, but I will say that where Nicholas McCarthy chooses to go with the ending was very predictable and just didn't sit well with me after watching it. It kind of just felt like, really, this is the best they could come up with, and there were just a lot of things that were off about it. Other than that, the coloration of the film was very dull, and other than most of the daytime shots, the majority of the movie was dark and kind of an eyesore, to be completely honest. The shots themselves are fantastic, but what was inside of them was very bland. Also, I hope that Orion Pictures doesn't intend to use this to set up a franchise, because if they continue to produce more films stemming from the ending of this one, they will get considerably worse every time. Don't get me wrong, I really like this movie, but this is pretty obviously a one-time thing. The Prodigy mostly delivered on everything I wanted it to, and I wasn't remotely disappointed with the final product. It was a fun horror movie with some frightening moments, and for die-hard horror fans, this is right up your alley. For a casual moviegoer, I would still probably recommend it too. After thinking it over, I'd give this film a 7.9 out of 10, and as far as if you should see it, I'd wait till it hits dollar theaters.